Here we are this evening together with Ruru and Luliana.
Uh-huh.
And there is one topic that I feel like comes back yet again and again in our conversations, which is that some practices and some methods that male people use in their spiritual practice sometimes are not compatible with the nature of women, and we are kind of physiologically very different creatures. And I feel like a woman is a little bit more a part of the nature. Our cycle changes every 1 week. A woman turns in a different kind of woman because
Person.
of the fluctuations of hormones and so on and so on. And when it's not looked upon with respect to the nature and to the different kind of conditioning, then what happens is that we try to apply certain rules, for example, that men follow in the spiritual practice, uh, who are more by nature steady. I'm not saying that every man is steady, but they are more steady because they don't have these internal shifts. I was listening to one podcast lady. She was saying that for a man to feel the difference that a woman feels in her hormonal changes after ovulation leading to her luteal phase, he has to age 120 years.
Uh-huh.
So that is a kind of feeling that a woman gets in those 2 weeks after ovulation. So she ages 120 years in those weeks, in like to compare like to what men would need to experience, how they would like the shift. That's how powerful the shift is. So we have these creatures who are women walking around and coming into like some spiritual communities. We have also practiced a lot of bhakti yoga with Luliana, where some understanding about that the spiritual practice has to be daily thing, and there has to be thing called sadhana, means that you are dedicated by hook or by crook to follow a certain type of lifestyle every single day, no matter what. And then that is
Yeah.
basically the idea with which I grew up as a spiritual seeker, and I feel like you also grew up. And today I actually was this my how to say unpalatable thought that I'm trying sometimes to deliver to other people, that majority of religious practices are designed to men, for men. And then I saw this beautiful, fair woman reacting to a video today. She was also from our kind of spiritual background, and she was looking a little bit like sick, to be honest. She looked pale, and her eyes were, she had under eyes. And
Like,
I
yeah.
would like, if I saw a person like this, I would worry. I would ask, are you okay? And she was reacting to a video of a man who is a monk, and he was saying that
Probably it was her guru.
maybe, and he was saying that
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 is
the spiritual seeker has to be humble, and that humility in the end is not to think badly about oneself, but just not to think about oneself at all. Like the less you think about yourself, the more humble you are. And then you know what happened. All the, how to say, I got internally triggered, and I thought I'm gonna troll maybe or not. I try to control myself, and then I was looking at his advice, and I was looking at this lady, and it was a big mismatch, because in my humble opinion, not thinking about myself, thinking about other women, and seeing myself how I was suffering through a lot of years and a lot of pregnancies, a lot of nights and a lot of periods and a lot of breastfeeding craziness in every 15 minutes for 2 years at night. I understood that this is a very harsh way to be humble. And I really feel like we need to talk about this because
Uh-huh.
woman's body by nature needs care.
Uh-huh.
And I do believe that by nature, because we are so fragile in some way and strong in the other way, but still requires attunement and requires attention and requires not to be so humble, not to think of oneself. Luliana, you wanna uh,
I would like to-
gently deliver your thought on this?
I actually yes, I'm trying to talk about yes, I'm I'm preparing myself to calmly answer this question. Yes, this topic is very for me very important, and this is actually harmful preaching because this is male energy. You know, every day do the same thing.
Yeah, Mars Saturn from astrology.
Person without period, pregnancies, lactation, ovulation, menopause, their mood almost the same probably, so they can do the same. I feel this sadhana is male sadhana. I hope there is exist female sadhana, because
Yeah.
female cyclical life, cyclical mood, cyclical ovulation, cyclical, and we actually do not think about ourselves. We think about our children and our relationship most of the time. I would say
Yes.
hard
Hmm.
to think about yourself already, and then if somebody tell you do not think even less about yourself, it's very dangerous for health. So I hope there is exist sadhana for female, which is
Yeah.
female soft,
Uh,
nourishing, uh, the one that
mm,
is go harmonically with the cycle and life path of a woman.
mhm.
On yeah, the more when you said this introduction, I realized how obvious it should be, which was not obvious for me for 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Because we
And
were younger and these men, people were telling women what to do.
exactly, it works for them,
Yeah.
but body is different. It's like the same as telling probably, for example, dog lifestyle and cat lifestyle.
Hmm.
There is no right or wrong. There is a
Hmm.
different bodies that can
Hmm.
handle different amount of stress, different amount of sadhana. And we're not going to even talk about that in India. Originally, woman was not doing any sadhana, a little bit of puja until her children getting
Yes.
married. Take it seriously. After menopause is finished, so she don't have to deal with
Yeah.
pregnancies. Feeding and
You know, majority people that I knew when I lived in UK and we had this Bhakti center, they would come, like some
oh,
Indian people who are not from our tradition, they would come and they say, "Oh yeah, I know this because my grandma used to sing Bhagavad Gita to me." It was always grandma. It was never, my mom when she was 25, it was grandma because grandma finished all her fluctuations already in life.
yeah.
Today I went to the temple and I met this wonderful young woman, and she had Indian background, but she was she took up spirituality later in her life. And I was asking her questions, and I was asking, when do you wake up? Maybe let's have a play date. And she said,
Mhm.
"Oh, we don't have a schedule. We do whatever we want."
Oh,
And I said, "Wow." I
she,
love this because she looked happy, her skin was clean, she was peaceful, she was happy. She said that they eat whenever they want to eat, they go to sleep whenever they want to sleep, they wake up whenever they want to wake up, they water their plants in the morning for 1 hour whenever they want. And basically, their routine is deprived of cortisol. Cortisol for women is actually very, very harmful. And one of the things I wanted to also tell, that's the other example. I used to live in Scotland and we had this temple that was really, really like they followed a very like rigid standards, like it was like monastery. Really, it was like if you go to Nepal, some Buddhist place on a hill, you're gonna have that kind of standard. They were austere people, they had the taste for austerity. And it's not easy to live in Scotland, on a hill. You have to be austere, you have to life
Right.
austerity, because it's
Right.
windy. It's not just cold. The wind penetrates your like bones. It goes through your any jacket that you wear. I used to wear 3 jackets to go to the temple, you know. So these people, they were really really strict with the routine. So they would wake up at 3 and they would, meditate. Some of them would meditate for 6 hours every day. That was the kind of idea, and they were like really really serious, and then among them they lived women, and those women, they try to follow the same standards. And the thing is, and it's my observation, and I don't want to like point out that this is the fact, but my personal observation is that those women, they ended up being childless, because in some way, women have to sleep to produce hormones like progesterone
Mm-hmm.
is supported by sleep. Like according to science, women need to sleep like at least 7 9 hours a day. If they don't sleep 7 9 hours a day, the progesterone tanks. So like chronic sleep deprivation actually tanks progesterone. Progesterone is the hormone that adds, like it helps to keep the baby in the womb. It prepares the womb for the baby. It creates the placenta. It creates the lactation. So it's like it's a very important pregnancy um, hormone. And if a woman is always sleep deprived for years and years because it's cool and socially acceptable, it's actually so inaccurate, and it's actually a silent kind of, I don't know, it's like we bully the feminine principle out of a woman's body.
Yes, because temple is actually where they live brahmachari. It is monastery, and
Yeah, for men.
family people, they just come there sometimes.
Yeah.
The people who want family, they're not supposed to live there.
Hmm. Yeah. And sometimes, if I, in my life, when I was seeking for some sort of advice, and I'm now allergic to any advice given by males, actually, because I feel like they will never get in tune to the reality of this ever changing bodily discomforts that we go through. And all the advices that I had was like, by hook or by crook, stick to this. And by hook or by crook, gaslight yourself into following this. And I did, and I tried. And I was, at some point, I remember I was sitting pregnant in my car in Scotland. And the thing is that in Scotland, it doesn't snow a lot, but the area where I lived actually was snowing a lot. I didn't have, like, I had the snowshoes, but there was no such a thing as concept of winter. So
Okay.
they had some sort of things you could buy, but it's not completely, specific to the weather sometimes. And so I was pregnant and I had to spend a lot of time outside because my kid was hyperactive. And so I was walking all the time on this icy surface with a big, big belly and my nearly okay shoes to be worn on top of ice, trying to keep up with my son who was running in front to being excited about all the snow. And I'm thinking how to not to fall on that belly, trying to do my meditation while walking, because that was like I was, influenced by the surroundings, a very serious approach to spiritual life. So I was bullying myself into every day without the failure, while I had anemia, while I had chronic fatigue, while I was running after ADHD kid in the snow, in the ice, keep up with the chanting. And I sat down in the car at some point when my kid finished running around the ice and the snow, and I felt physically how my body and my internal being started to fragment into pieces out of pain. That I have bullied myself into something that, even if I think about meditation, it gives me like, how to say, bodily reaction of, like, I don't know how you call that, but like a tick, you know? And
So
yeah,
meditation
yeah,
come hook that association not with calm and peace.
trauma. It became a trauma, and then I called my friend who was from a different kind of, from a different spiritual path, and I said, look, this is what the men of our the very wise men of our society are telling me to do is to keep up with my meditation. But if I keep up with my meditation, basically I cannot stay in the house with a hyperactive kid and a husband working from home and him banging into the door and screaming. So I have to take a kid out every day, and then when I'm out I can do some meditation because I'm walking, so nobody is coming kicking me in the belly, while I'm sitting on sofa or trying to sit down and meditate. But this is insane. Like it brought me to the point where I felt like I don't want to live like this anymore. It
You know,
wasn't chant and be happy. It was chant and become so unhappy that you don't want to live. And she said, just throw everything away, because she was a woman who had 5 children. When a
mm-hmm,
woman has 5 children, no man can give her advice anymore, because she has seen,
mm-hmm.
like birth experiences, like death experiences. When you see death face to face and life face to face 5 times at least, or at least even one, you cannot really take these serious, pale looking men seriously anymore. You just think like, what the hell are you talking about? Is theory. Like, live a real life and then tell me what to do.
But we were doing this. I had similar experience, but in warmer climate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the thing is, we were doing it because we thought that chanting will help us,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we will be happier,
Mm-hmm.
that we will be
Praying,
material.
yeah. Prayer will save us.
Yeah, will save us from this situation.
Misery.
Yeah, exactly. But it become like one more job.
One more misery. Even not a job. Chore is like, okay, I will tell you. When
Mm-hmm,
I know that something is good for me, let's say I love, I love weightlifting. And some
mm-hmm,
days I really don't want to go and do weightlifting. But
mm-hmm,
I am convinced 100% that if I go to gym and
mm-hmm,
I do the weightlifting, it's going to
mm-hmm,
be really good for me, and I will be happy after that, because I know for a fact that I will have happy hormones, and I will be energetic, and I lift only as much as I can. I don't lift 200 pounds. I lift
mm-hmm,
according to my capacity, because if I lift more, then for 1 week I will not be able to take care of the needs of my family.
mm-hmm.
Okay. And my own needs and nobody else's needs at all.
So
So
you
now,
will live
yeah. So
again.
I go happily, because I allow myself to do just as much as I know that is healthy for me, because nobody can measure what is healthy for me.
And you know why you
You
do this?
can, like somebody can, but they have to know me. Like, for example, I had a like fitness trainer, and the first fitness classes was like, he wanted to see what I can do. Like, he gave me 5 pounds, then he gave me 10 pounds, then he gave me like 15 pounds, and then he was trying to stretch me little by little by little by little by little by little further. But
Mm-hmm,
then when I'm thinking about spiritual practice, there's like, in our community, at least, there is this standard of this nearly 1.5 hour of meditation, or 2 hours sometimes. This is the standard if you want to, like, feel that you are making progress. And then anything else is like, yeah, okay, now do more. Like, there is always pressure, but I feel like people, if they cannot lift 1.5 hours of meditation because of their personal reasons,
mm-hmm.
then they should lift 10 minutes of meditations. And I feel like nobody should be bullying anybody into more, because I feel like there's this like a psychological trap, and merely like bullying people into doing more sacrifice and more service is poetic, even. Uh,
Maybe become like a career for people.
yeah,
Like
it's like a career, yeah.
I on how much tapasya they do, so they become like going into some ladder, corporate ladder,
Hmm.
spiritual climbing, and they feel themselves better than other
Yeah.
who can do very little tapasya.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I was trying to remember there was another thing that I wanted to discuss.
then
Like when I was telling about this. Wait, let me think. Let me recall. Uh
what I like about it because you determine how much you can wait by listening yourself, by paying attention on yourself, and basically did opposite that
yeah.
advice that we're talking about. The same as in spiritual life, we also have to
Yeah.
kind, like
Mhm.
listen ourselves.
Yeah, so now, for example, my practice, I do completely opposite than this humility video is suggesting that not to think about yourself. I'm
Mhm.
trying to think about myself with humility in a sense that I want to give grace to this person who went to hell and back because I did went to hell and back in the last like 10 years of my experience as a human being and a woman and a mother and in this embodiment it was really challenging and I had nearly left the body after my daughter was born and I feel like I don't want to gaslight anymore this individual. I want to treat this individual like as if I'm treating myself as a second person. I'm not trying to look at myself as I'm doing something for me. I'm looking at me as someone that I am as a mother taking care of, if that makes
like
sense. Like
like
being outside of experience, outside of myself, taking care of myself.
like your daughter or like your friend or like
It
your
depends on situation, but more of a motherly, like,
Mhm.
and then and I feel like there is a healing happening in my heart, and definitely more softness and more blood is circulating in the like heart chakra from that because it's not about ego and it's not about making people think something about me that I'm not and making a persona, but it's more about that let's give ourselves grace, and if we can give ourselves grace then we can treat others kindly also. If we are harsh and gaslighting ourselves, then when we talk to other people, we will not listen and we will not hear them, and we will also give them this harsh, square advice and some preaching that has nothing to do with grounded reality. And, I heard this thing that what actually is the difference between intelligent person and not so intelligent person is that the intelligent person can get attuned to the other person's reality. So, but
Mhm.
how can you attune to the other person's reality if you don't think about yourself and you don't feel your own feelings and think your own thoughts? And you are so humble that you don't even think about yourself. But then, how can you know your own experience? I feel like only by experimenting with yourself and trying to tap into your own heart, you can then try to understand somebody who is completely different than you. How about?
I just realized while you were talking, what does it mean when Jesus say, love your neighbor like you love yourself? Because I was really thinking about several years, what does he mean? What does he mean? So I need
Mhm.
to love myself and the same way I need to love my neighbor. So, but it seems like for me, I was doing opposite. I was loving others,
Mhm.
and then from there, I was expecting people to love me.
Yeah.
So it was like opposite direction. But now you told me to cherish yourself, to mother yourself, to attend to needs, emotional, physical, spiritual needs.
Yeah.
It's loving. So the same way we can attend to other needs, other
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
understood. Thank you, Ruru. I just like wow.
Yeah. It's simple, but it is
Oh,
profound because there is a need for both principles in this world. So this masculine principle are of okay. So my idea is that men can persevere. Okay,
mm-hmm,
through Mars and Saturn. Like these are energies that are very present in the man's existence in the body. And then I don't think that when women persevere, it's healthy for them. I feel like women act out of love,
Mm-hmm.
because men can act out of, okay, I'm gonna do this, use the Mars energy, the goal getting energy, like achievement energy. And of course there are nuances, and every person is different, and some women are really good achievers, but I'm just saying that it is more natural for women to act out of love than out of perseverance.
That's why Bhakti Yoga is supposed to be more spontaneous, like on a
Yeah.
high. Originally, like the goal is to be spontaneous love, which is woman seems like it.
Naturally, I like that.
But so why do we going through this boot camp?
Mm,
Because they say we're not ready yet for higher class spontaneous love. It's
yeah,
not for.
I'm very good for spontaneous love. I'm happy. I
They
can try.
feel it.
I'm happy to try.
I mean, just
Yeah.
love. For woman, it seems like natural. Like
Mhm,
she gives the child and she, bam, she's in love with
mhm.
this child spontaneously. So, um,
Because you know why? I will tell you why. Because mathematically, if you have men and women doing the same thing, then you have, instead of one man, two men.
yeah.
When they say we need manpower, so
Mm-hmm.
that means that when a woman becomes the sadhana lady, sadhana warrior, she becomes a manpower. So instead of having 50, now you have 100 men. That's
Right.
wonderful. That's cheap.
Female hormones because
Yeah.
she lives.
And then all the females and the hormones are getting wasted and go to hell. And it's very sad. And I feel like it's very sad. And maybe that was necessary for some time in the beginning, but I do not anymore believe in perseverance. I believe that, when I saw this woman today with her kid, and she said that they do whatever they want, I
Mm-hmm.
was so happy to hear it. And I said, this is like a song for my ears. Because she was, of course, her Indian background, and they are more in tune to the fact that they get benefits of the husband's spiritual practice, and they are more relaxed, and they are really good at family life, in the sense that women are really well trained in how to be mothers. Majority, of course, that's there are nuances, but they're good, good in what they do. And I was like, yeah, there is something that this girl is being first time mom already knew that I didn't know for like years and years.
But maybe she just came to America and she doesn't
No, no,
understand it.
she grew up in here. She grew up here, so she's American, but like
Like,
she has
oh, I want to
Indian parents.
meet her and breathe in this energy to
Yeah.
learn. Because, you
And
know,
also, when we say do what you want, we are not talking about hippies. Of course, this
oh,
podcast is always about people who have clean lifestyle. So whatever you want is not to, sleep under a bark and, eat what you found on the ground when you woke up.
you know what? I have to say again. I don't know why, but literally, I was for 7 years. I just realized it is the 8 years, and it finally came to me answer. What does it mean? Love yourself. Because everybody was telling me, need to love yourself. From other people, from different, like online, offline, like not from religious perspectives, but
Mhm,
from my close people, not from family, but from female friends.
mhm.
But then I say, what exactly does it mean? Nobody could tell me. Some people say, go get nails, go do like massage. So I tried, and I'm like, it does not.
Feel right, yeah.
Yeah, but because it was not right, because one time nails per week does not recover these years of sleepless nights and self fanatic torture. It's not enough. I feel like after 10 years of intense not loving myself, I need at least 10 years of rest to get back to where I started,
Mhm.
the way I was before. One time going do massage per week is not doing nothing for this level of depletion and self-denial, and nobody could answer me how to love myself.
Yeah,
Even I
denial.
do
That's how it's called.
it right now, and I kind of start doing it, but it's so hard for me. It's like digging with a teaspoon of something, like gardening
Yeah.
with a teaspoon. It's so hard, and even if I understand it now, I
Uh-huh.
can start doing it. It's so hard. It seems like I need a restructure my whole thinking system,
Yeah.
my whole lifestyle. Like right now, we women with the children, at least like me, we thinking about children needs, and I'm like thinking, okay, today I didn't attend to my any need. I had some needs, but I put them again on a back.
Mhm.
And again, now it's night, and again, I'm sitting in the car and thinking, okay, again, I ignored myself.
Yeah,
I abandoned
and it is not humility. That's what I'm trying to say. This
self
is
love.
not humility. And all these men, I hope that one day they will be born as women and have 20 kids and have a lot of hormonal problems. And finally, after that life, they will understand that whatever they are telling women to do, they actually abusing. And because there are like a lot of women who have traumatic backgrounds and traumatic childhoods, and they have been emotionally abused or neglected, they easily take up this bullying preachers as they um, mentors, because this is what they used to. This is the pattern. The pattern
They
is to be bullied. And now
did.
this man with his bloody sadhana and his Mars and Saturn is whacking this woman's hormones out of her body, and she's sitting there with a blue under eyes and like a parrot telling the same thing. And
They
this is misleading, and this is actually sinful. And I'm
but
hoping that either like maybe we can breathe into some new
common
ideas into men's and women's heads. But I'm hoping also that not only women but also men listen to our podcast to understand the partner, because this hormonal change that happens within a couple of weeks in women's lives is a big stress factor. So we need to relax, we need to attend to our body needs, we need to think of ourselves, we need to feel what we need, what we want, what we see. And like we have to be always in tune with this body, because otherwise it starts breaking and falling apart.
and you know what's interesting, because the woman who been in a childhood, she meet usually probably her guru and husband that is like childhood upbringing
Mhm.
energy. So that's the main thing. So it feels like home. So if the guru repeating the same thing as husband and kind of the same thing as was at home during the childhood, it feels like home. It feels right.
Yes,
So
that's what I'm saying. It's a pattern of being bullied.
because female gurus exist
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they preach different,
Yeah.
but she choose. It's completely volunteer behavior. She choose comfortable, feels like home.
Yeah, but in the same time, this
Yeah.
inability to be in tune with a different nature and try to lead it where you are going with the means that you are going there with, when you are in a different, like you have a Lamborghini and somebody has a bicycle, and you say, "Let's go." You go with me, follow my speed, and
Uh,
this bicycle person is like, oh, okay, I guess, So
so person feels shame
there
that
is
he.
no empathy. That's what I'm trying to say. Where is the bloody empathy? There cannot be any leadership if there is no empathy and attunement.
Sometimes I think it's not on purpose. It's just maybe
Yeah,
out of
it's
context, and it's
that is
just
called narrow mindedness. So if you are not wise to open your mindset, so then don't tell people what to do. That's what I'm thinking. Because to
yeah.
preach and to be open, like to be trying to lead people somewhere where there is a brighter light, you have to be able to have an open mind. I read a lot of books. I don't read only like religious philosophy. I, for example, read tarot. And you know what they say in tarot?
Hmm?
They
Yeah.
say that the relationship between God and the soul is individual, and that the person has to become to reach God actually has to put an individual effort. So
Oh, yeah.
that is basically what our also philosophy is saying, that you have a personal relationship with God and you can develop it
That,
by putting
that,
your effort. So I feel like unless you are open minded enough and you don't have these judgments and prejudices in the beginning
mm,
about anything at all, like somebody says a word tarot and people right away think, oh, some witchy, whooshy, like casting spelling, something like a lower kind of vibration,
mm,
unintelligent thing. Is actually very deep and very profound. It's all about introspection. It's always showing what to think about your own experience, and those experiences, they are very deep, they are very like um the nuances of the experiences that are described in the reading of the tarot like books, they are
mm.
so subtle that they
Ruru,
can benefit a lot of people if they are not closed minded. So what I'm trying to say is that to be able to lead people somewhere, you yourself should not be in a box. If
you
you
have
are very much in your head square, you
you
cannot
have
lead anybody anywhere, because you will not be able to understand the experiences, because you already made yourself so restricted.
does I have two questions. Does tarot help you to understand yourself more?
Yeah. Yeah, because some of the experience that are written down, I felt them, but I never knew how to put them in the words. And for
Mm,
example, there was one card that I pulled out yesterday, which was star. And this star is like the all cards, they have sequence. They come one after the other. They have meaning and they are related. So this card, they say it's always coming after your ego has been like smashed. After there is a card that is one card before, it's
mhm,
called Tower, and the Tower is basically dismantling of the personality. Like you can see a tarot card, and the a tarot card has a little tower, and the tower is on
mm,
fire, and everybody is falling down. And that means it's just that you had a persona that you were trying to play, and now you are faced with a situation that is telling you
mhm,
that this was fake. Basically, you were faking something,
mhm,
and there was a situation that you had to let go of some of the unauthentic ways.
mhm,
And so that the next card
that's
was about, what was also already a naked woman sitting and like getting some water from the well and pouring it all over. Anyway, there's like a lot of things that are there, and they are depicted in the picture. And
mhm,
this woman is basically like being born again, being
mhm,
born again after difficult situation.
wow.
And as I was reading those, I don't know, there's 20 pages,
Mhm,
I realized what was the situation that made me feel that I was like, my ego got really dragged through the ground. And then I could depict that the situation that I'm in at the moment makes me feel that I actually learned authenticity better, and that I'm becoming more authentic, that I felt like I was stripped from my clothes, and like shame and everything that was hiding inside of me, and from where I was acting it out,
mhm,
um, put me in a situation that the situation itself then later cut it off. And now I'm like feeling like a new human being. And it
mhm.
explained and helped me to understand and internalize more deeply and in detail how this all played out. So it's only about you, really, and your own individual experience as a human being.
It's divine. That's
Yeah.
what question is like. Second question is, so I was wondering this preaching for the big amount of people, different ages, different
Hmm.
gender, giving the same advice to all.
Yeah,
It's
generalized. Yeah, too much.
or I understand, for example, like Krishna Katha or like some scriptures, but to give this narrow narrowish advice to every age, every gender, every situation, like brahmachari, grihasta, everybody.
Yeah.
It's a little bit it was confusing for me, but right now I feel like it's wrong right
It
now.
is completely wrong, and there are people who are actually trying to implement this understanding of differences between genders, not only psychic differences but biological differences, and it's getting better. But in general, there's a lot of prejudice and judgment, and it's actually really, really harmful because, yeah, because people who are traumatized, they will not differentiate, you know,
Will
they
take it.
harm themselves further.
Yeah, I feel like it's in Russia saying that if you make a person who are fool, for example, to pray, he will smash his head.
Mhm.
So, like before taking, maybe this advice person have to be healed, love
Yes,
self, and
yes.
apply it to his level of, like to his level. First, he need to be okay, basic okay.
Aha. And now I will question. It's not about the level
Okay.
because somebody can. I don't want to hear even to think about that. If you can do 6 hours of meditation, that you have a higher level than a person who can do 5 minutes meditation. I feel like it's not about this level of consciousness. It's about the situation a person is in.
Yeah, yeah, of course, for sure. And also in the scriptures it say, actually it says, you need to say it once with a faith. Oh,
Hmm.
let's not even go there. You have to say it once. But sometimes I feel like it become competition.
Yeah.
How patience you have, who
Yeah,
is
yeah,
you,
it is competitive. It is competitive market.
16 or
Yeah.
64 months, or you do all day and all night.
Yeah.
Uh, or
Yeah. So I have been in some communities that people really bully each other on this, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, how much, who did how many, how much, like push-ups, you know? Juliana, how many push-ups did you do today?
Zero.
Yeah,
So
well, technically I did
I was in
two
some
I did 200, so really you have to kind of up your standard and your level.
cannot talk to you. I'm not on your level.
Yeah, you bad association.
Yeah, like people
If
give me
I
like,
if I don't do my 200 push-ups tomorrow, it was because of you were bad association to me.
so we're gonna be on the same level, so I can say
Yeah,
hi.
you will drag me down.
I heard some people saying that young women should lock their children for 2 hours in the next room and do their sadhana.
Oh
They're
yeah,
young.
yeah, and better, the better is to whack them before you lock them up, so
Oh
that they
yeah.
know not to make a noise. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I used to do it. Not right, but I used to say, my children, don't come to me and don't tell me you need something from me until I finish my sadhana.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
crying. And I was like so fanatic, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
this
Were
maybe
they
it's
were they having some behavior issues and shadow kind of exposure?
I cannot even talk about it. It's so painful and so like wrong. I didn't process it still. I'm
Uh,
not giving
yeah.
myself
But
yet
because I feel like whenever we want to suppress something in ourselves, then our children enact it.
for sure. For
That
sure.
is because they
I just
intuitively feel that
put
pressure.
down already. I try to, because you know, it's so
Mm,
it's like it's so cruel. There were at that moment there were no another caretaker that they can come with their needs. Like I
mm,
basically sent their like
yeah.
needs. I told them wait 2 hours until I do my job.
So
And
yeah. So I wanted to wrap up because we gonna
yeah,
do shorter podcast. We promised ourselves and our listeners to make it concise. So I
yeah,
wanted to suggest that if being humble means to ignore yourself and not to think about yourself, and especially for women,
mhm,
I would suggest not to be humble then, because our body requires a lot of gentle handling and
mhm.
care, and it's high maintenance. And yeah, it's a different vehicle. So whoever likes to ride on a Jeep and off road, they can do this humble advices to themselves. And for women, I feel like the more care, the more gentle, the more less cortisol, less pressure, more the goddess energy, Bagina. There was this Instagram.
You call women
Yeah,
creatures. Gonna
yeah,
say yes, hello.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
I will try to add. Maybe there is this Instagram reel where there was this Russian woman. She was talking about how woman has to wake up whenever she wants, and then she has to, step out the bed whenever she wants, and this is like a goddess energy, and then she will be happy and healthy. So I agree, but it was funny because in between of those, every sentence that she said, there was this woman who was like from the morning attending to her animals and feeding pigs and wearing boots. Like, it was really funny because in reality sometimes these things don't agree, like not
Not
yeah, not to have, like, for example, this routine or something like that. Not everybody can do it, but still to have as less stress as possible. That's what I'm trying to kind of inform people about, because simply nobody wants and needs unhappy hormonal imbalance lady. And she, yeah, no, yeah, because that's
oh
what the outcome is.
yes. On a positive note,
Yeah.
sleep if you're a woman. If you can.
Repeat it again, because there was a little.
Yeah. Positive note, we're gonna advise sleep longer if you are a woman if you can.
Yeah,
Rest a little bit more
yeah,
if and if you're a woman.
yeah. And if you're a woman, please don't be humble. Okay, so I'll
It's
stop recording now.